Welcome back, Masters and Princesses, to another episode of Maid News Network. Today we have for you Tattoo number 18, and I am on fire from the last two sets we had. Barely 15 hours apart for these sets. They killed both of them, but for starters, we're going to jump right into Park West. Now, for Park West, we had a fan cam, and I want to thank Alan Kawakami for recording the entire set from the back. We got to see and hear it. Thanks so much, Alan. Much appreciated in the fandom. Great set. Just absolutely great set. And I was completely shocked from the get-go that you basically got an entire overseas set, 18 songs, right about an hour and a half. And as far as song choices, I think pretty much what we expected, just more of them. Really, really good stuff. So we're going to jump into it right here. Opened up with Domination. Not a surprise. Then we get Glory. Glory's popped up from time to time, but it is not a staple in the set. Alone, again, another great one to have. Then into Play, Unleash, rapidly becoming one of my favorite songs. It's made it into the top 10 for sure. Choose Me, Sayanakidori, From Now On, Manners, Dice, Hate. Hate has been turning up. They have been crushing with Hate. This was a really good addition, and it was a really good version here at Park West. Nice. Really, really good. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. Moving into Different, and we get Daydreaming, Memorable, which I expect to see throughout the entire North American tour. Freedom, another almost every set list will find Freedom. We got Screaming, Endless Story, and what has kind of become to be the set closer, at least for this 10th anniversary tour, and that's No God. Now, aside from the fact that this was longer, this was essentially a showcase type of set, and showcases are usually 45 to 60 minutes max. And they kicked out a full 90-minute set, and that's with an opener. So they were playing well into the next morning. I don't know what time it ended, but it had to be 1 a.m. or a little bit later with that opening band. Beauty School Dropout, by the way. My understanding is I haven't seen a whole lot of pictures from this show, but the crowd skewed younger and very, very female for Beauty School Dropout. Assuming they hung around, hopefully they like Bandmate. I haven't heard much feedback from this show in particular. So if you know something, please put in the comments down below. Any reactions after the show, anything, maybe if you were there, you saw the girls were into it, the girls weren't into it, let me know. Give me some feedback as far as what your take was on the feeling inside the venue. Now, another thing with a showcase I wouldn't expect to get was Homogenite time. Miku went and did a full Homogenite time for this show. And judging by some of the videos, she either was really, really trolling you guys, or you guys really, really weren't as loud as she was hoping you to do. But that's in the middle of the set from Alan. Go check that out. It was fun. She wanted you to say Chicago, and then people gave her a moi moi, and her reaction was pretty priceless. Go see that if you haven't. Something else that returned here, looking at my notes, is for Hate, we got the Misa and Mincho battle back and forth. We've seen these in the past. Don't always get them. This was a really, really good one. This Park West show, with a lot of surprises, at least for me, was a really, really good warm up for them. Looking at the video, they seemed comfortable. They seemed well rested after just, flying over a few days before. Just in really, really great shape. And this was a really cool tone setter for the rest of the US tour. Said it already. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I don't think that one is going to go anywhere. That's probably going to stay up there. You can watch it as long as you want. But one recording that I don't know how long it's going to stay up is the recording for the Lollapalooza show. It was streamed on Hulu, and then several people recorded it and then uploaded it to their YouTube channel. I have a feeling that either Lollapalooza or Hulu are going to take exception with this. But now we're going to transition into Lollapalooza. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Welcome to Lollapalooza. Right on the heels of the Park West show, they played 145 on the Coinbase stage about 12 hours after they finished their previous set, somewhere in that range. They came out, and Hulu was kind enough to live stream this. If you had a Hulu account, you could have watched it live. Several people recorded it. This was another surprise for me. You don't often get a full hour at a festival. And this gave the Maids some breathing room. They didn't have to cram, as many songs as they could into 30 minutes. They had a chance to relax and get comfortable and have a really, really good selection of songs. So before we go into the actual review of the show, let's take a look at the set list. Opening up with From Now On always seemed weird to me to open with an instrumental at a festival, because you're going to have people who don't know who you are, and just an odd way to start. But they've been doing it and it seems to be working for them. So far be it from me to pass judgment on what they play when. Number 2, Domination. Not a surprise. Totally expected to be in the set list. Choose Me, same thing. Don't You Tell Me. Didn't see that one coming for a festival, but boy, did it work. They brought back the guitar bass battle for Don't You Tell Me. So at the break leading into the solo, Misa and Konami go back and forth for a good 45 seconds to a minute. And I am not kidding when I tell you this is one of the best ones I've seen from them. And another thing about this entire set, it was shot really, really well. Whoever's running the production missed some key stuff, some solos, who's doing what when. But overall, the way this was filmed and pushed out, you're getting good long sections of each member doing their thing, as opposed to really quick jump cuts, which is something that has come to be the norm for bandmade concerts, especially in Japan. You really got a chance to see what each one was doing. Misa working the fretboard, Konami working the fretboard, Psyche losing her mind through this entire set. And we will get to that as well, I promise you. After Don't You Tell Me, we get Alone, into Afterlife, which is another one that pops up from time to time, but isn't really a set staple. No God, which normally we've been closing sets with lately, but this one is dead in the middle. Moving on to Daydreaming. And again, with this hour-long set and some breathing room to do a few fun things, they gave us the extended version, the extended entry, the piano entry, which set the tone really, really well going into Daydreaming. Coming out of that, onto Dice. And like we had the night before, we got Hate again. This version of Hate might have been the absolute best one that is recorded. Everything about that was perfect. And we got the second guitar and bass battle in Hate. Crazy impressive. Moving on into, well, there it is, Freedom. We're going to get Freedom. Doesn't really surprise me. Manners is another one that comes and goes. And then the final surprise of the day, sort of, Endless Story. They didn't just jump into it. They started doing the sing-along section of this before they started the song. That takes balls to go to a festival and do a sing-along song where you got a lot of people who don't know who you are or even what you're singing or what they're supposed to be doing. But damned if that crowd wasn't going off and was in it and was singing right along with them. They played the entire song, closed it out, said thank you, and then moved on. This was an amazing set. I've seen a lot of live bandmate shows, as I'm sure a lot of you have. There was something very special about this set. This is one of those ones that it's kind of a timestamp in your career. Most big bands have those somewhere along the lines. Like for me, I would say, being a Metallica fan, I think the Day on the Green show that there's footage out there with Cliff is one of those timestamp type shows. Nirvana's Unplugged, kind of a timestamp show. And in my opinion, as time goes by, especially as this show is recorded and kept, and as long as Hulu doesn't start striking it down, I think this show is going to be one of those timestamp shows where people can look back and go, yeah, that Lollapalooza 23 was crazy good. And they came out of the gates just firing on all cylinders. Psyche was amazing in this show. I'm the biggest Misa stan you're going to find, and she crushed it too. But there was something different about Psyche. 3-4 songs in, she was super confident from the start, but something changed, and she found some deep inner swagger that she hasn't unleashed before, no pun intended. Something about just her attitude and the way she was controlling the stage, and she's hitting every note and just bringing the crowd in and exuding all this confidence without arrogance and just swagger without being smarmy. Just, it was amazing. So go watch that Hulu live stream. It's on YouTube. Just Google Bandmate Lollapalooza. You're going to find it. I don't know that it's going to be up there for very long, which is kind of sad, because this was just such an absolute impressive set. And the other thing about this is we had an interview at the very front of that Lollapalooza set. You'll see that there's an interview with a local who I believe is a DJ. We finally got somebody to interview the ladies who actually knows something about them. So he's asking intelligent questions from a point of knowing something. Although it's not a good idea to ask lengthy compound questions when a translator involved, but he knew what he was talking about. So props to you, dude. Good job for knowing who you were interviewing. One of the last things I wanted to mention about the Lollapalooza show, other than the fact that it was a massive production from top to bottom, some of the photography we're seeing out of this show is some of the best I've ever seen. There are photos from the maids that are, again, maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic, but I think we're going to get some iconic photos. There are some Psyche photos that are incredible. There is a Miku one, which you're going to see right here with her tails up as she's shaking her head. That strikes me as being an iconic photo from the band. Just incredible photography. I mean, 4K nothing. These were 8K photos, just crystal clear, detail that you wouldn't expect to see. Just, it was like the cherry on the sundae of this show to come back afterwards and see all of these great professional photographs out there. So if this sets the tone for the rest of the tour, and we got Minneapolis coming up tomorrow, Sunday, if this sets the tone for the rest of the tour, it's going to be their best overseas run, period. I don't know how they're going to top Lollapalooza. I'm hoping. We got 3 more shows. I've got 3 shows coming up: Portland, Spokane, and Anaheim. But for those of you who are going to Minneapolis, Denver, and Salt Lake, I know you're going to have a great time if they come anywhere near these 2 shows that we just got. So those of you going to those shows, Have a great time. There is a bunch of fan swag floating around out there. Make sure you get some if you can. Dawn Patrol, get there early, hang out. You'll see a lot of the familiar faces out there at all of these different shows. If you're going to Portland, I will definitely be out there for Dawn Patrol. If you're going to Spokane, we're going to do a meetup once I finalize it. Hasn't been done yet, but we're looking at it's a place called Tap 24, and it's like line of sight a block from the Bing Crosby Theater. So I'm looking to get there in the early afternoon, 3:30ish, hang out for a couple hours, then go on over to the show. We'll be doing some live streaming and giving away some prizes there. And if you're going to Anaheim, I went and met with the manager yesterday just to let him know what kind of nonsense we're going to be up to and how early we're going to be there and that type of stuff. He told me something really, really interesting. If you have a GA ticket for the Anaheim show and you eat in the restaurant prior to the show, spend $20, which a burger and a beer is going to go north of $20. So it's going to be really easy to do. Spend $20 and you're GA, you get upgraded to fast lane. So if you got a GA ticket and you're going to eat first anyway, you might as well just eat at the House of Blues and get that free fast lane pass. When the manager told me this, I laughed at him. I'm like, are you sure you want me to push that out there? And he said, yeah, we can handle whatever you guys got. I'm like, okay, dude. Don't be surprised if you fill up with that type of information. But what I would suggest to you is Google Anaheim House of Blues, call and make a reservation. And you're going to want to do it early because doors are 7. So fast lane's probably going to be maybe just a hair before 7. Get in there, grab your burger, grab your beer, hit the restroom, get comfortable, jump in the fast lane and get as close as you can. And with that, I'm going to wrap up Tattoo number 18 for Chicago Park West and Lollapalooza. We will catch up with you in a couple days on the next one, which will be Minneapolis and I think Salt Lake, if I remember correctly. At the very least, you'll be getting Minneapolis. So for Peter and myself, oh, and Peter, when you see this, you're on a plane right now, dude. I know you're going to land in about 10 hours or so. We will catch up with you in about a week. So everybody say hi to Peter. Hope your flight was good. With that, I am SJ Nix. This is Maid News Network. This has been Tattoo number 18, and we will catch you on Tattoo 19 in a few days. See ya.